Okay, I guess it's going to go something like this. Good evening. My name is Bill Brennan. I'm the Divisional Administrator for Instructional Technology here at Western Civic BOCES, and I'm pleased to be here tonight to share a little bit with you about what our program does, for what we do for our 18 school districts. To begin, I want to kind of put in perspective um, how things have changed in the classrooms today and how technology has had an impact on that. So we're going to begin by doing an activity I like to call Remember When. So if you'd like, feel free to shut your eyes and try to visualize this, but I'm going to ask you a couple questions and just at the end, feel free to contribute some responses. What memories do you have as a student? What do the teachers do? What was happening in the classroom? What did the classroom look like? And what role did you remember playing as a student in class? So there's just a couple questions to think about. You know, when I was in school, I can recall carrying a heavy backpack, sitting in rows, having to listen to the teacher for a good 40 minutes or whatever the period was, and really not being able to say too much in the classroom. Um, You know, if we look at education in general, we know that learning is not a process where teachers just dump knowledge into children's heads per se, but it's more of a transactional thing where you know interesting dialogue, curiosity exists. Kids are searching and looking for information, and technology has certainly leveraged our ability to do that, at least in guiding us in that direction. You know, one of the biggest obstacles that schools have are in leading change is really the memories that we have of what school was. And that's why I kind of want to take you through that exercise. It's almost like you have to deconstruct who you are in order to reapproach what learning and leadership, for that matter, really is about. Um, and the second thing is if we take the angle of technology here, it's really only a technology for those who were born before it existed. Now, take my children for example. My son is 2 years old, and you know, obviously, the BlackBerry or a smartphone is not going to be technology. My son and my daughter will not uh, have been exposed just to Encyclopedia Britannica, but they will have been exposed to iPads, to tablets, to laptops, to netbooks, to phones that are capable of doing things that, as a child, perhaps I could never have imagined. So how does that fit into schools, into education, into learning? How do we bring these tools in? And that's a lot of what our work is here. So going back to that learning piece, because that's what it's all about. And very simply put, does this equal learning? Scantron-based testing. I know as a child I didn't believe so. So I want to just show you an example of, this is called a cluster map. And cluster maps are found on different websites, blogs, and things like that. This happens to be a cluster map from a student who was in ninth grade at the time and was writing about something he was passionate about. Um, and the funny thing is in today's classrooms, or yesterday's classrooms, you you might write a paper, you might write a journal entry, and you know you're lucky if anybody else besides the teacher actually reads it. Quite honestly. Now, in this case, the child had developed a passion, a curiosity, an interest, and putting it up on the web has gotten incredible amounts of attention from across the world. How does this fit into the framework of education today when the audience that you have is a global audience? And quite honestly, this is this is not the norm. Okay, we're not seeing every child doing this, and that's part of the problem because um, our school's actually effectively teaching kids how to do this and to operate in the 21st century. So, with that being said, what is different about today's students, today's children? And now, listen, I know they haven't evolved. Some may say they have, but children certainly haven't evolved. Evolution doesn't happen that quick. Um, but there is something very different. There's a need for information. There's a need for to do things on their own. Um, and they actually classify children in this new generation. They're called the millennials, and they display different characteristics than past generations before. So again, in terms of learning, how are we incorporating what we know about this into schools today? And I'm going to now go into a little bit more about how we do that here at the Center for Learning Technology. So our work actually involves working with the 18 school districts, obviously, and very much we're involved with leadership planning and project management. When I say leadership planning, it's more or less guiding, I believe, the districts into a mindset of providing a 21st century school. And project management is the nuts and bolts of handling things or projects from start to finish. So again, we assist each district with all their instructional technologies, and we do so in how we like to say the 4 C's, or through the 4 C's. Our services are comprehensive, collaborative, cost-effective, and current. And I want to go through each of these. In terms of comprehensive, we have a team of project managers and staff that is very unique. And I say that because it doesn't exist anywhere else on Long Island. The other BOCES don't quite do it this way. And the difference is that what we do is we actually spend a considerable amount of time trying to understand the district's needs, and we do it in a strategic manner. Following that, we develop a detailed project plan and then manage the project from start to finish. So we actually have a staff member assigned to those districts, and that is really more or less their function. Collaborative. You know, I can't say this enough. The idea of putting a lot of people in a room and some sort of facilitator guiding that process is powerful. What we focus on is problem solving, and it's really focused in that means. And what I mean by that is we involve stakeholders at the district level, vendors, and BOCES staff. But also something I didn't include on the slide that we also do quite often is problem discovery. Planning for potential problems down the road is extremely important in terms of project work. The third piece here is current. We know every day that there's some sort of major shift happening in technology, and constantly going through my mind and trying to influence my staff and my districts as well is what are the opportunities now that we have with this sort of stuff, and how do we effectively implement this in for not only just increasing our efficiencies in terms of the administrative level, whether it be our administrative systems, but also impacting the way the kids learn and the way the kids access other people and other information. And finally, the last piece, which is cost effective. Here at Western Suffolk BOCES, what we're able to do is through our relationships with vendors, our buying power, we're really able to deliver the most cost-effective solution, and we are constantly staying focused on this. We do a number of projects throughout the year, and we're analyzing information on this throughout the time.